Hi, it's Sarah with House Copper. Today I'm doing a relatively short video on how to do a single bead on a piece of copper or tin plate. If you do not have a beading machine or you don't have a single bead die, single beads and ogee beads and even triple beads are not that hard to find. It's the double bead. For some reason that is harder to find. So when I say triple bead, it means like this, though these aren't matching. I apparently, here we go. So it means like this, like that's a triple bead. So you can see the spaces are 1 and then 1, 2, 3. So this is a triple bead. And then this is an ogee bead. So you can kind of see how that space in between them is the shape that you'll get. And then I don't have a double bead die, but I do have a single, and I'm going to be using a single on a 1 long strip that I've soldered together for a project. And so you'll see how the single bead looks. If you don't have that, you can get a piece of wood or a swedge block. If you're a blacksmith, you might have like little tinier grooves. Or if you have a stake that is a wiring stake or a turning stake with all of the little pieces in it. I'm trying to see if I have like this. You can kind of see how you could use a wiring stake to create a single bead that way. Or if you have a very old swedge from the early 1800s, you could also do it that way. But I'm going to show you how to use it on a machine. And the trick is the backstop and keeping it in a straight line, because it'll wobble off. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, so here is my long piece that's been soldered together. I'm going to be using the single bead. You can see how it only has 1 indentation and then everything else is straight. You want to make sure that these parts don't have any gouges or dents, because that will imprint upon your sheet metal when you run it through. So if they do have a lot, like anything, you want to really kind of sand that down. And then the trick is getting this to feed through. Your backstop is your friend, which is this piece right here. They're different on different machines. This is an older one because it has an open gearbox here. You might have a closed gearbox on a later model. This one was Paxton Wilcox, but in their earlier stages, but they don't have their year on it. I'd have to go back to the books. All right, so first you want to set it up so that it will feed. The trick is not to go super deep the first time, because you'll kink your metal, and to make sure that this is against the backstop, as you can see right here. So here is how it works. Oh boy. So my first time through, my goal is to keep pressing the material a little bit, not right here, but actually ahead of this. So you can see my hand is here ahead of the machine, and that is actually how I'm guiding to make sure that this line stays against the backstop the whole time, to ensure a straight line. And this is the same regardless on whether or not you are using a single bead, a triple bead, or whatever. It will, and it also, as you can see, it's straightening out back here because it is work hardening the metal for me on adding strength to the sheet. When I hit the seam, I'm going to back off just a little bit, because you will actually, even more, you will actually create stress on the back of your machine and your gearbox, and you can crack the metal and it will be really hard to repair. And if it is more than a lap seam, this is a lap seam, so it's only 2 thick. If it's a crimp seam, don't even bother to go over it. Just go to it, back off, and roll it up. So this is a lap seam, so I can go over it as long as I pull back a little bit on here so the stress doesn't manifest here. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you how tight I am. You can see how tight I am here. And this is what I am maintaining the whole time by putting pressure about right here and watching over the top of the machine so that it stays pretty flush. I'm touching here, this is where the seam is, but it stays pretty flush on the back end. So you can see how the pressure I'm exerting and then I kind of move ahead continually keeps this touching that backstop. Then when you get to the end, whatever you're doing, which I'm getting to here, you can feel it. I actually move back to the back and keep pressure there because you want to be able to catch. You don't want it to kind of, at the end can actually kind of wobble the worst because it's the very end. All right, there we go. And now I'm gonna go through a second time because I have already put an indentation here. I'm actually gonna go a little deeper and I'm gonna create a bigger, tighter, stronger bend. So you line it back up again, and this should feed a lot easier, but you still do need to watch, but I can feel how much tighter it is. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna create an even deeper indentation, an even stronger kind of work hardened situation here. And we're gonna go from, shallower bead. But again, when I got here to that part of the seam, I back it way off. I go over the seam, I crank it back, kind of guesstimating, or you can remember where you put this if you want it exactly the same. I kind of go by feel where I crank it and the metal under it. And what it's gonna do is, and see even now, I gotta really watch at the end because it will run off. And now I have an even stronger, tighter, deeper bead. Okay, so that's it. That's how to do a single bead using a beading machine, or how a single bead would look if you want to do it using wood or a stake or a swedge. I hope that was interesting. If you do want to play with these tools and come and, learn how to use everything like that, this year I do want to let you know that I am hosting a coppersmithing 202. There's a 101 and a 202 for more complicated or more experienced metalsmiths. And I'm also doing a tin and build workshop where you come for 2 days here. And all of these are in person here in the metal shop with all the tools, because I can't take all of these tools all around the country. Could you imagine getting that stomp shears on and off a trailer? But you can build something and tin it and walk away with a custom built tinned copper pot. So, whether the 101, the 202, or the tin and build class are your style, besides my usual retinning classes, I will be doing different workshops this year. So if you want to come and actually use these tools, it's the only time and only place you're going to be able to do that here in America. So I hope you join me this year if you're able and have the time and energy to get to Wisconsin. And otherwise, don't forget to find my book, Copper, Iron, and Clay, wherever books are sold. Find me on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube and tell everybody how exciting it is to watch metal get fed through machines. Kidding. And thanks again for watching. I will see you here next time.